Welcome back to Primetime News. Special welcome to the folks watching on onespotmedia.com.
A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the word Spot and Media.
More questions this evening about the big phone bill of the Finance Minister Audley and concerns about him negotiating a discount with a cell phone provider.
Concerns are also being raised about whether it was appropriate for Mr. Shaw to have negotiated a discount when the Prime Minister knew about the issue and whether government rules were being followed, which would have flagged the big bill. All issues we try to put to the Prime Minister today.
This evening, we continue our coverage of a story we broke on Monday. First up, should a cap have been set for ministers long ago? And why wasn't it? Dr. Peter Phillips was himself the finance minister when the circular TVJ News reported on Wednesday was issued in 2012, governing how cell phone bills are to be managed. It includes a category of people with no cell phone bill limit, people like ministers and chief executive officers of certain agencies and the Governor General. The same category that Prime Minister Andrew Holness says will now be given a limit. But why didn't the PNP change the no-limit rule after concerns were raised about then Junior Minister Arnaldo Brown in 2014 over his cell phone bill?
If the previously existing rules had been adhered to, this would not have occurred.
In fact, the PNP General Secretary, Julian Robinson, a former junior minister, maintains that there's a form ministers who fall in the current limitless category are given.
You identify your personal cause, you identify your official cause. I can certainly speak. When I was in government, at the end of each month, my bill was brought to me. I had to go through it line by line. I had to say what was personal. I had to sign it and say that I certify that these are official cause, and the personal ones were paid by me, the official ones by the government.
So, the PNP wants to know where the breakdown was. Was Mr. Shaw seeing the bill and filling out the form? Mr. Shaw has said he was not given the bill and that there was an internal breakdown.
Mr. Shaw, Mr. Chung, and the rest of the Jamaica Labour Party leadership of the time made a song and dance about it. With their knowledge of what preceded them, one would not expect them to be committing the same thing.
Turning to another issue, some have raised concern about the fact that the finance minister negotiated a $1 million reduction in the $8 million bill with the cell phone service provider. Should Mr. Shaw reimburse the provider?
Paying it back at this point doesn't really change the fact that it should not have been asked for. And it is the fact of it having been asked for in the context where the individual citizen does not have this available to him, and in the context of the appearance of conflict because of the powers of taxation and regulation at which the minister is at the center, does not reflect good governance.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister and National Security Minister both apparently pay their own bills, and Robert Montague uses his private phone. Should the Security Minister be allowed to use a private phone?
I am saying we have to review it. I can't come out with the circumstances, the results of the review, before the review has been done, to say, for example, that we are going to require that to use the public phone without there being a higher level security setting to the publicly paid phone would be meaningless.
That review is as far as he would go.
Meanwhile, as we told you, we try to get answers from the Prime Minister Andrew Holness today. TVJ's Vashon Brown has that story.
As concerns continue about the government's cell phone bills, analysts argue that there are still many unanswered questions. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness issued a release on the matter, indicating that the government will now move to cap the mobile phone bills of cabinet ministers. We sought more answers from the Prime Minister after he addressed a function in Denham Town, West Kingston on Thursday.
Mr. Prime Minister, good afternoon. People are saying that you knew about the phone bills before March, but only acted after there was public concern.
Nothing more from the Prime Minister on the matter, but commentators have been weighing in.
If this kind of expenditure can be incurred and the alarm bells are not raised until this media organization, TVJ, asks questions, then what does that say to the public? what are we to infer? Are there other kinds of things that are going on, which checks are drawn, expenditures are incurred, and unless something happens, we don't hear about it.
Former co-executive director of the Jamaica Civil Society Coalition, JCSC, Jeanette Calder, argued that the more the finance minister tried to explain his $8 million phone bill, the more troubling it became for her.
Why did the minister, shifting from private citizen to public citizen, think it was a wise decision to have kept his private number? That alone is telling, because you have all your friends, all your colleagues. You didn't get a dual SIM card and put the CUG chip in with your private one. So that was the first unfortunate decision.
The finance minister said he negotiated a discount of a little over $1 million with the service provider.
But the Minister of Finance, who is also the Minister of the Public Service, said he went to a private company and he negotiated a discount. For me, I didn't hear a discount. I heard a favor. I didn't hear a discount. I heard a gift being given to the minister. Now, it doesn't matter how well-intentioned, there is a gift policy in that very ministry that says that ought not to have happened.
The Prime Minister has also mandated the Technology Minister, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, to enter into discussions with telecommunications providers to devise standard cell phone and data packages for government ministers.
Mr. Wheatley and his ministry need to come to the public and tell us what is this package that they're negotiating. Because if the answer to the problem is to negotiate the special package, then we will not get the accountability and the restraint that we need to see that guides our conduct in the management and the use of the public asset and resources over time.
Vashan Brown, TVJ News.
And after declining requests for interviews, Audley took to social media site Twitter this afternoon to further explain his cell phone bill. Mr. Shaw reiterated that majority was for data roaming charges. He said, quote, "When I queried the excessive charges, I was told that they were attributable to data roaming charges billed at $8 per megabyte. He added that 1 gigabyte of data roaming costs $1 million Jamaican dollars on some networks.